Hi, this is David, and welcome to the tutorial. Okay, before I get started, I had this long lecture planned and ready to go, but the tools that I use have been updated dramatically, so now the workflow has sped up quite a bit, making this lecture pretty much irrelevant. So excuse me while I trash it. Okay, now that that's done, let's get started. Looking at this footage here, we're actually going to take this motion capture file that Tristan made here in his studio in China. So this was shot a couple of years ago, actually. This data, along with a few others, actually come free with Access Neuron, which is actually pretty cool. It gives you an opportunity to test drive the data long before you're ready to make the purchase, which I find pretty cool. I have 3 of these suits. They're version 1. I haven't updated to 2.0 yet, but they're excellent. The product is excellent. So, okay, so let's move on. Okay, so here I have Access Neuron and Facerig Studio working. Now, to do a quick setup, I already have Access Neuron set up. I'm going to go to the advanced tracking configuration of Facerig Studio, and I'm going to scroll down and look for, we have head movement and upper body movement. Then I'll scroll down and show helper grid, and also follow camera, have the camera follow the character. Then once I'm done, I'll hit play on Access Neuron, and you can see it's now broadcasting right into Facerig Studio. And I'm wearing I'm actually wearing my helmet that I made myself, and I have one of those Chinese knockoff GoPro cameras, but I love the form factor, and they work great. I'm actually blinking my eyes and moving my eyebrows, but I have an audio track playing, and it really goes to show how amazing Facerig Studio is, and also how awesome this pipeline is, where you could do different things and have everything sync together, which is really cool. So in here I have Access Neuron for the body, and I have my helmet that I'm wearing right now to capture my eye rolls, blinks, and then I have an audio track playing for the lip sync, which is actually pretty amazing. So yeah, so you can see full body, everything's working together the way we want it. So here I'm going to record performance, and then I'm going to keep an eye on Access Neuron, so I'll play that to see, and then this way, this is how I cue myself. So I'm blinking, making eye rolls, looking around, trying to get as much eye movement as possible. I'm opening and closing my eyes. Keeping mindful of Access Neuron, because I don't want the loop to play again. I just want that one single track, that one single recording. So here I am. This is Tristan demonstrating the suit, along with my eye blinks and eye rolls and eyebrow movements, and it's tracking the mouth from what it's hearing. Okay, I actually had a beard, so it had a hard time tracking with my beard on. So okay, now that I have the full take, I'm going to stop the recording, and automatically a window will pop up for you to save your new file. I'll give it a name, and then I'm going to update this version 3, because I did an example before. Okay, so now we're going to export the performance. Export animation. I want to make this 60 frames. And then I'm gonna go show bones. And then I'm gonna export type. I'm gonna convert it to Blender. And then I'll grab the file I just made. And then I'll go to my exports folder and give it the same name. It'll be version 3. Great. And then once I have that, we'll save. And then click export. And then wait for it to export. There is a tutorial on YouTube with Facerig Studio, and when they were showing the export, he just clicked on show bones. I don't know if it does anything, if it's on and off, so I just mimic the same thing. So at this point, as it was recording, I actually took off my helmet. Okay, so it exported perfectly. So now let's move on to Blender. Okay, now we're going into Blender. You know, I'm gonna go to top view for a second. Why not? And there's a reason for that. Okay, so I'm gonna go to File, Import FBX. Okay. Let's wait a few seconds here and it'll load up. And there we go. Great. Awesome. So I'll just put this here like this. Alrighty. So I'm going to, I think the frame range is 117. We'll just put this here. Okay, I'm off, but it's all right. At least I'm in the same vicinity. And yeah, whatever. I'll just put this. Okay, great. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, there is some prep work I would do before moving forward. Okay, so I want my character to face where the camera is. So the camera is here, so I want him to face this way. So the problem with Facerig was when I exported FBX, you'll see in a second actually. So let me, well, actually right here, if I were to okay, let me just rotate him quickly like this, right? Now he's facing the camera. So this side should be his left, and that's obviously should be the right. But if I click on his knee, for example, it says right. So the issue was, wow, this is all flopped. So what I started to do was, okay, let me just correct this. I will go to the main, right? And actually, let me turn off the camera at this point, and I'm going to actually, let's make a new collection. And I'm going to go to character, select hierarchy, and bring them into the new collection. And then I'm going to turn off this collection here. This way, when I do my global selects, the camera and lights are not included. I'm going to name this collection MCP data, mocap data. Okay, cool. So here we have the character here. And then I'm going to select all of this go to my empties property. I'm going to hold down Alt, and I'm going to scale this down a bit. And you'll see when I scale it down, I don't want to scale down too much, but you can see now that, especially like right here, we have a face. Great. Okay, cool. So I'm going to select this one. I'm gonna make this one a little bigger just so I can see it. The rest is not a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to, this is now the root of the entire hierarchy of the mocap data. So if I hold G and move my character, the whole character moves. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my keyframes and delete them because there's no animation here, so I don't need them. And also, I'm going to make sure I am at frame 0. This is very important. Okay. Make sure we have frame 0 and okay, great. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to zero out the position. So it's perfectly in center. And the rotation, I'm going to do some changes to. I'm going to make this from 90 to -90. Okay. And then I'll keep Y at 0. And then I'm going to make Z 180. Great. And then I'm going to go to the scale and go from 1 to -1. Bam. Good. Now that I have this, if I now select the knee, it says left. So that's correct. But actually it's not. Now, this is how the character came out of Facerig. Now, for retargeting purposes, we need to have a T pose or an A pose. In this case, I'll make a T pose. And unfortunately, we have to do it manually. So it's a little tedious, but again, you do it once, you don't have to do it again. So now I'm going to go to the hip, and then I'm going to, at this point, I'm doing everything with the rotation. The positions are fine. Okay. So I'm going to go and then look at the numbers. The numbers I'm looking for is 90, -90, 0, 180, depending on what the numbers tells me. So if I go here, obviously it says 85. So 85 is very close to 90. So I'll make that 90 and call it a day. 125. Okay. That can be 90. Okay. And then for the Z, -6, that's an obvious 0. And then I'll hit the Y key, the I key, sorry, and that will make a keyframe for me. And then if I will go to the front view, if I switch this to normal, and then we'll go to, and if I go here, you'll see that, okay, it's perfectly flat on the front and on the side. So I know this one's good. And you could tell by, if you select any one of these, you'll see that they're not perfectly straight. I say flat, but straight is what I'm looking for. Okay, great. So now I'm going to go to the hip. Again, I want to make it flat. So obviously here's 35. I'm going to make that 0. Okay. And then -96, we'll make that -90. And this one is going to be 0. And you'll see that, okay, great. It's flat on the front and flat on the side. Perfectly straight. Good. And remember, hit that I key so that way you'll have it. You'll make that keyframe. Okay, great. So now I'm going to go to the knee. Now, since the knee is parented to the thigh here, I don't have to worry about anything other than the fact is to make them all 0s. So I'll do that. Enter. I, and the keyframe is made, and again, you can check it. You see it's perfectly straight. Great. So let's go to the foot. Okay. Again, look at the number. So 103 will make you 90. Will make you also 90. And again, 90. Cool. And then we'll make that keyframe here. And then we'll check it from both sides. And then, yeah, you'll see that in the foot here, if we go to the front, straight again for the foot, okay? The toes, just basically just make them all 0s. Okay, great. So let's go to the other leg. And we're gonna make this, again, 0. We'll make you -90. And we'll make you -180. And bam, perfect. So now if I look at the front, it's straight. Side, it's straight. Perfect. And I'll make a keyframe there. Great. All right, cool. So now we're gonna go here again. Like I said before, since it's parented off the knee, since the knee is parented off the hip, I don't have to worry about it's anything other than the fact is to make it 0, and it'll stay flat. Good. Let's go to the foot, and the foot again. This will be 0, -90, and 0. Perfect. Cool. Make that keyframe, and then we'll go here, and we'll make all these zeros. Great. And then keyframe that. Great. So the legs are pretty much good to go. So I'll do, let's go to the spine here, because the spine is actually pretty simple, and I'll show you why. Since we have our hip pretty much situated, we're going to go to the spine, the first spine here. Now, everything is parented off the hip bone, and they have their own hierarchies. So in this case, the first of the spine, we'll have to make sure that we have that correct. So we'll make that 90 for the Y, and then both the X and the Z will be 0. Okay, and all I'm doing is adjusting their rotations. I'm not doing nothing with their positions or where they're located. Where they're located is fine. Okay, great. So now I'm gonna go to the next spine. Now remember I said if it's parented off, you don't have to worry about it's anything except make it 0. So in this case, I'm gonna go 0 all the way up. So I'm gonna make a keyframe here, and then let's go here. Okay, make all that zeros, and then keyframe that. Oops. Enter, keyframe that, and then we're gonna go to the neck. Again, make them all zeros, and then we'll keyframe that, and then we'll go to the head, which is right here. Great. And then we'll again select them all, hit 0, and we'll keyframe that. Great. Cool. Alrighty, great. Now for the face, I'm gonna go to the jaw really quick, and I'm going to do one thing with the jaw really, because I want the mouth to be closed. So what I'm gonna do is, since we're here, I'm gonna make this -116. Let's make that 113. Okay, that looks like that's better. Okay, great. So we'll make that 113. Great. Beautiful, because it's closed. All right, great. Now, okay, for the arm, well, actually for the shoulder, clavicle, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to, again, look at it. I'll make you 0. This will be 180. And then I'm gonna make you -90. Oop, not. Okay, great. I'll make that keyframe. And yeah, you can see front, side. Great. All right, good. All right, so at this point, let's go to the arm. And again, I want the arm to be straight. I'm making a T pose this time. If I was making an A pose, I could actually stop right here, but I'm gonna make a T pose for this one. So I'll grab all of these, 0 them out, keyframe it, and just gonna go all the way across until I get them all. Again, for the arm, the same thing. Like the spine, a good majority of it will be zeros across the board. And then the same with this guy here. Even though even I'm not gonna retarget it, or I may not use that data, but it's good to have everything in a good proper position and proper rotation. Again, this one here, we'll 0 this one out, and then we'll keyframe that. And then with the hand, again, all zeros. Okay, and then we'll keyframe that. Okay, and then now this is the thumb. Okay, I'm going to do actually a few things with the thumb. I want to let me show you what I mean. For the thumb and the fingers, you see that, yeah, the rotations, they have rotations, but also in this case, I'm also going to adjust I'm also going to adjust their location on the Y. So if I go back to normal, if I go to side view here, and I make the Y 0, let's make the Y 0, it goes down and it lines up with the hand. Okay, and then from there I can just keyframe that and then go to the rotation and zero them all out. Okay, so now the thumb is the rotations are zeroed out and it's lined up with the hand. So now for the rest of the thumb, let's just do the same thing. Okay, let's see. In this case, let's see something here. Oops, sorry. Let's undo that. Let's make that as 0. Okay, great. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go here and then we'll zero these guys out. And then we'll just, let's make a keyframe. Alright, so same with this one, we'll zero out on the Y. And then we'll come here. And let's keyframe that. Now the thumb is pretty much ready to go. And if I were to go to the front view, perfect. It's perfectly aligned with the hand. Good. So now let's go here to the next finger. Again, the Y. Zero that out. We'll keyframe that. And for the rotations, we'll zero this one out as well. And great. And we'll also keyframe that. Okay, great. So now let's go here. And this is already at 0, which is good. So we'll just keyframe that just to save that. And then the rest of this will be zeroed out. Again, making sure you're on frame 0. Very important. And I'll let you know why in a minute. So we're gonna go here, Y again, zero that out. Okay, and then good. Let's go to the rest of all of the rotations and zero this out. Okay, and then we'll do that. And let's go. All right, great. Good. All right, good. So now let's go back to, now we're going to the next finger again, on the Y. It's repetitious, it's boring, but you have to do it. It's very important. Very, very important that you do that. So let's, I'm gonna fast forward at this point because you pretty much at this point get the hang of it. You're gonna, for the fingers, you're gonna zero the Y, hit I, and then for rotation, select them all, 0, enter, I. Same with this one here. We're going to zero the Y, I, select all in the rotation, 0, enter, I. Okay, great. And then if you want to check it, let's do it. Perfect. See, straight across. And now he's, the left side is ready to go. So now let's do the right. Bam, there we go. Cool, we have completed this thing. And the way you want to check it, just to make sure you got them all, would be to just scrub the timeline and go right back to the beginning, and then go to check the front, and then check the side. And I can see there's something here. So let's see what that is. Oh, okay, I didn't, okay. Let's see, even though I got these, I didn't keyframe the thumb. But again, but the position is fine. So just go back, enter I, and it's done. Okay, so now we have, again, so if I scrub the timeline again, go back to frame 0, look at 1, and then look at side, and we're good. Excellent, great. Alrighty, cool. So now that I have this, I'm gonna select the character root. Remember, the root is important. You select that first. That way you know everything is selected. Then I'm gonna hit A to select all of them. Now all right, so this is now, we have our T-pose and we have pretty much our setup ready to move on to the next part. And we're gonna turn these empties into bones. So I'm gonna go to my tool tab, and I'm gonna go to here where I have this empties to bones. I'm gonna create the armature, but before I select this button, make sure automatic bones orientation is selected. Now, before I even go do this, this is where I had my entire workflow of how I was able to resolve this issue I was having. It was time consuming. Yes, it was. But now with these updates, there's no point for me to sit there and explain the whole thing. I can just simply say, well, guys, this works. Create armature. Rumpelstiltskin. There is the armature. Okay. For me to get to this point, there was a lot of work involved. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select the root bone of the thing here, and I'm going to, let me bring that in a little bit because it's a little weird. Okay, great. Now that's there. Okay, great. So if I go here back to pose mode, and if I select like anything else, let me select this bone or this bone, you'll see that there's no keyframes here. But if I play this, we have animation, which is awesome. Okay, so now we have the animation, but now we need to bake the animation, transfer the data from each empty to its corresponding bone. Okay, so we can scrub through, we have the whole thing here. So we'll go back to frame 0, and then again, lucky, the author of this script did some update. It's amazing. Make sure you're in object mode, bake animation. We have 1657, and then we'll click OK, and then we'll give it a moment or two, and we're done. So now if I go to pose mode and select this bone here, hey, look at that, we have keyframes. It's been populated. Yep, we have keyframes. Great. So now if I play the animation, it's been transferred over to the character. Now at this point, if I go here, I'm going to make a new collection. I'm going to call this collection arm 01. Hit okay, create that. I'm going to grab the armature, and then I'm going to take and bring it into here. Okay, I like to keep things separate because now that the data has been transferred, I don't need this anymore, so I can actually just turn it off. Okay, so now we have our animation. Why it was important to make the T-pose at frame 0, because if I go into edit mode, there is our bones, like as you saw already, in its rest position. Now, this is something I highly recommend you do because Facerig Studio does not export with a T-pose. Even before you make animation, your T-pose has already been set, so your rest position are ready to go. So if you select rest position, it doesn't change. That's the beautiful thing about this, okay? So now we're ready to go to the next phase. We're gonna retarget this to one of my characters. Okay, so here's my mocap data, okay? It is not ready for retargeting. Also, it's ready to be exported and brought into other programs for retargeting, such as Motion Builder, Maya, Max, Modo, and Lightwave, or whatever software you're using that can take FBX or BVH data. Okay. So now in this case, since I'm in Blender, I'm going to stay in Blender and I'm going to use my favorite add-on, ARP, Auto Rig Pro. Another awesome add-on made by Lucius, aka Lucky. He gave us Empties To Bones, and he also gave us Auto Rig Pro. And I'm going to show you how that works right now. Auto Rig Pro, it's a rigging add-on, but it also does retargeting, and it also can export out to Unity or Unreal or whatever software you're using. It's pretty incredible. My advice before you get into Auto Rig Pro is to understand rigging. After you have a good hand on it, get Auto Rig Pro. It will save you a lot of time. I actually enjoy rigging, to tell the truth, but Auto Rig Pro is simply amazing because you can get from point A to B so much quicker. So in this case, I'm not going to use any of these except my favorite part, the remap. And the way this works is this. I already have my character brought into the scene. So I'm going to turn my character on. His name is Tin Man. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select my source. Okay. In this case, the motion capture data file, and I'm going to eyedropper it. It's going to say source armature not initialized. No problem. So we're going to click on freeze source armature. Give it a moment. Shouldn't take too long. And we're good. And I'm confident it all worked out because if I scrub the timeline, my character still moves. If there's an issue, your character would have changed from its T-pose, and then all the keyframes that were baked on would have been gone. But in this case, we're good. So now we can move on. So I'm going to go back to object mode. I'm going to shift select my character. Again, he was rigged in Auto Rig Pro. I'm going to eyedropper him. Okay. And then I'm going to go down and click auto scale, which is great because now when it comes to retargeting the data, it's going to happen at a 1-to-1 ratio. Great. So now I'm going to build the bone list. Okay. Now, even though Auto Rig Pro is amazing and it's really fast, there is still some prep work that needs to be done. Some might consider tedious, but it's really not that bad. But the beautiful thing about this, you only have to do it once. So I'm going to go now, since my character now is selected, I'm going to go to object mode, or I'm sorry, pose mode. And I'm going to now, when we build the bone list, it guesstimate, well, what's what, meaning that the naming convention for Facerig is BIP. Naming conventions for Auto Rig Pro is C underscore and the name of the body part. BIP, name of body part. C underscore, name of body part. All right, so I'm gonna go down to draw, BIP draw, and I'm gonna select this. Now, I know with Auto Rig Pro, this is my draw controller. Okay, controller. So I'm gonna select that, and then eyedropper right here, where this is where you will assign what to what, and then eyedropper it, and there it is. Okay. Let's do like the hand, for example. I'll scroll down and look for the hand. And let's see, did I pass it? No, I didn't. Good. And let's go to, usually it's with the fingers. And here we are, right there. Oops, that's the right side. Let's go. Oh, you know what the heck? This is on the right. I'll go here on the right side, select the hand, bip right hand, and then I'll eyedropper, and we got C underscore hand underscore FK. Cool. This rig also has IKFK blending, which is really cool. Okay, now I'm gonna go do some more prep work, because now we have the simple assigning, but also there's two things we need to assign where there's also a little more involved than just a simple click. So I'm gonna go to BIP root, select that, and then I'm gonna go to my rig here, my character here, and select the C underscore root underscore master X. Very important that we select this one here, because this one is the master, meaning that if I were to move him around, you'll see everything else moves along with it except the feet, and I'll explain why. So we got that, we have it selected. We're gonna eyedropper it, but then we're gonna go to set as root and select that. Cool. Now I'm gonna scroll down or up, depending on, and look for the foot. Okay, here we're on the right side, so good. So BIP right foot. So I'm gonna go select C underscore foot IK this time. Okay, so I'm gonna eyedropper it, and we have it here. And then I'm gonna go here and select IK. Okay, inverse kinematics. And then to complete this, I need to find the pole vector for the knee. So I'm gonna select this guy here and eyedropper that. Okay, meaning that if I were to, let's say for example, bring him down and move him over a little bit, and if I grab this knee, it'll always point to it no matter where it is. Okay, great. So let's go back and let's zero all these out. All right, because here we're going to retarget the data before we do any manual movements or changes. Okay, so let's go back to Facerig Pro. Now at this point, the cool thing is you're going to continue on setting up your naming convention and how things are linked together and stuff like that. Okay, so here's the hand, here's the left hand this time, and then I'm gonna eyedropper it, and boom, we have that. And then I'll go down and look for, where is it? Let's see if I could find it. Yeah, there it goes, the left foot. Okay, and then I'm gonna select the left foot, eyedropper it, IK, and then I'm gonna select its pole vector, and then boom, C underscore leg underscore pole dot left. Okay, great. So now this is pretty much the most prep you'll have to do alongside getting everything else. Like here's a clavicle, I'll select that and go here, and there it is right there. Select that, and it's the C underscore shoulder dot left, right? And eyedropper this. Now, yeah, you're gonna continue this, but again, like I said before, you're only gonna do it once. One of the cool things about Facerig Pro, you can also, once you're done, you could save a mapping preset. So what you do is you'll click on this folder, and you would tell Blender where to save this file. So I have it here on my desktop. And then once you give it a name and accept it, okay, and once you accept it, this link will populate. And once you have everything ready to go, you click on export, okay, and that writes this to the new destination, and you're good to go. I won't do export here because I already have mine already set up, and if I click export, it's going to overwrite it with this, which, as you can see, it's incomplete. So in my case, I'm going to select import, and it's going to populate what I've made before. Now I'm not using everything, only what I need. Great. So now I have all of this. And now the next thing I'm going to do before I retarget, I'm going to I'll go back to object mode, and I'm going to select the source again. And I'm going to go to redefine res pose. Okay. And then the reason why I'm doing this is because, let's say, for example, we have a character that's at an A pose, or the source, the data is at an A pose, and let's say it's vice versa, and you want to connect an A pose to a T pose, or a T pose to an A pose, you would select the arms here, and you'll select those here as well. Actually, let me make sure I just get the arms. I don't want the shoulder involved. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you select the arms, and then you'll select copy selected bones rotation. That just take a couple of seconds, and then once you have that, you will click apply, meaning that you're taking the rotations of your source and you're telling the target to match it. So that way, when the data transfers, it's not wonky or wacky or anything. It's gonna be perfectly aligned with it. So it'll move the way it's supposed to. Great. So now this is done. So now I am ready to move on to the next thing. So I'm gonna save this just to have it saved. It's good to save these things when you're ready to do something drastic. In this case, retargeting is what I'm going to do. I'm going to shift select my character, and now that I have everything already set up, I'm going to click on retarget. And yes, make sure you have frame 0 selected. Very important. Click OK. Give it a moment or two. Awesome. Alrighty, here we go. Now we have a good retarget, and the reason why I say that is off the bat is because my root of my character and the root of the target character are now in the same location. That's a good way to know that, hey, okay, we have a good transfer. And that's what's good about auto scaling, because it's at a 1-to-1 ratio. So if I play this, you'll see that, okay, it's, and if I hide my, the mocap data rig and take a look-see, all right, everything is working the way it's supposed to. Yeah, the legs look a little wonky. We'll fix that right now. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to frame 0. Make sure 0 is selected. Yeah, go back to frame 0. Very important. I'm going to turn back on my my source armature here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the pose mode for my character and select not the root X, but the actual root master. Now, we did some work prior to retargeting, but there's also a feature we can do post retargeting, and that's right here, interactive tweaks. Okay, so I'm gonna go here, and also before I even go further, now that I have the C root master selected, I really don't want to go up and down this list. So if I want to select what I have selected here, I just click this button here and bam, there it is, selected. Okay, a good way to know that if you aren't sure, if you select the C root master, if it says it here, but if you look here, you don't see the set as root check, you know it's not selected, so just click that and it'll populate right here. So now we'll go to interactive tweaks. Okay, I believe we're using the normal of the controller for the hips. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna raise him higher because Tin Man is a lot taller than Tristan. So we're gonna hit the plus Y, And I'm gonna go all the way until my character knee is just in front of Tristan's knee. Like right this. This is what I want because I still want him to be a little bent over. Okay? So this is fine. So I'm gonna turn off Tristan and go back here and I'll play it again. Okay. And let's see how it plays. All right, cool. So it plays a lot better. Now, one thing I like to do, I'll do some cleaning up at this point. And what I'm gonna do is simply go to, I'll select the pole vectors actually, or the pole controls and make sure I'm at 0. Okay. And then I'm gonna select the pole vector here. I'm gonna delete all their keyframes. Usually you may not have to do this, but I personally like to do this. So I'll delete those keyframes, go here, delete the keyframes, and then go to its location and 0 them out. Okay. Now I did that and I'm going to play this and yeah, great. All right, awesome. You can see the fingers are there, the full body is there, the head's moving, you know, everything is working. And also, if I close in on the face is moving. And we could do some cleaning up with that as well, because it's kind of skewing quite a bit, but it's all there. Everything is working the way you want it to. And if you want to check on the eyes, you could see the rings are moving. Or I have this character textured, so it's a little freaky looking, I'm sorry. But yeah, there it is. Okay, for the face, I just simply gonna do some minor tweaks. From here, it'll be a combination of using Facerig Pro and also just using some simple things inside of Blender. So I'm going to select my rig. I'm going to go into pose mode, and then I'm going to select, the first thing I want to do is get all of the eyelid controllers and get rid of all the rotational data because I don't need them. So I'm going to go to Item, right click, clear keyframes, and then I'm going to 0 them all out. Okay, same with the bottom one. I'm gonna go right click, clear all keyframes, and 0 them all out. Same with the left side, right click, clear off keyframes. And you can see the moment I hit that, I 0 them all out, you see that they become perfectly straight. And that's what I want. I don't need rotational data for the eyelids. There's no need. Great. Perfect. Now that that's there, now I'm going to go to the elephant in the room, which is the mouth. They are really skewed. But again, now I'm going to go back to Facerig Pro. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And then here I'm going to play a game of hide and go seek. I'm going to go find those that are hiding as I seek them. Okay. So first I'm going to do is I want to get my corners. Now here, this is a 3-step process. So I'm going to find my smile. Great. There's my, nope, that's the lips. Sorry. Let's continue on. There we are. Smile right. Good. So in Facerig Pro, like I said before, you do some tweaks and works prior to retargeting, and there's some tweaks you can do post retargeting, which is, again, one of the reasons why I love this tool so much. Okay. So we did the interactive tweaks. Here we went through these. Now we're going to this thing called location manipulator. Okay. What I'm going to do is basically cut it in half. It sets at 90, meaning that everything is working the way you want them to, but we want less of it. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to take this 90 and make it 45. Right. Overall, I have my lips selected, but it's not selected on my list. So remember to click this button here and it selects it for you. And just hit set and you'll see that now it moved over. Okay. And then now I'm going to find the other one, which I believe is this one. Yep. And then remember, select this and set it. Great. Okay. And then again, you can see like a lot of the mouth and lips is pretty, the lips are pretty skewed. So you just want to clean that up. Like, it's just, you're doing a great job. We want less of you. That's all. So select and then set. Okay. And then same with this one. We're going to select it and then set it. Great. And then with this one, we're going to select it and then set it again. And this one here, we're going to select it and then set it. Great. Again, we'll go here. We're going to go select it and then set it. Okay. And then we're going to go to this one here. We're going to go select, set. And this one definitely needs it. We're going to select it and set. And this one here, we're going to go select it and set. Great. And then I'm also going to grab this one. We're going to select it and then set it. And then the bottom one, we're going to select it and set. Okay, great. Now I'm going to go to my texture view and you can see look how much better it looks compared to what it was before. So now I'm going to zoom out a bit and let's see how it looks now. Let's play this and see how we're doing. And we were, right away, it looks much better, way better. And in just a couple of clicks, and we have a working, all the skewing. I mean, it's still there, but obviously it's less of it. So, and that's what we want. So yeah, we have a good face transfer data. Again, this is stuff you only have to do once, because the next time I want to do something with the face, it will be at a creative level and not a technical level. So you want to get all the technical stuff out the way first before you do anything on a creative level. Okay. So if I were to turn these on, here is the scene. So we have motion capture data broadcasted out of Access Neuron into Facerig Studio, exported out in FBX, brought it into Blender, used the one add-on after we create the manual T-pose, which is actually the most work you'll do, is creating the manual T-pose. But again, doesn't take very long. You just do it once again. You know, everything you've done at this point, you only have to do it once. So create the manual T-pose, convert the Empties to Bones using the Empties to Bones add-on, and then bake, and then some minor tweaks prior to retargeting, and then some minor tweaks post retargeting. And again, everything here is at a technical level, meaning that you just have to do it once. So now this issue we're having has now been resolved, and now we could take all this work we have and we can move forward. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I had a good time getting to this point. But yeah, we're good to go. Now, again, export out an FBX and bring it into whatever software of your choosing. Yeah, so this is a really awesome place to be in, to finally like, okay, we got this working, and it's great. It works amazing. And Blender 2.9 and the updates that Lucky has made for Facerig Pro and Empties to Bones has been quite impressive. So the workflow I did before was a lot longer because I used to make 2 files to get to this point. Now I don't have to do any of that stuff. So yeah, links are in the description. Facerig Pro and Empties to Bones. Blender 2.9 you're good to go and problems has been resolved. Thank you so much and have a great day and God bless. Bye-bye.